has a cost, and it's one step closer to us being trapped here forever.
You will fight for her when others will not. You will protect her when others fail. You will be a shield while the storm rages on. That is your destiny.
I take no joy in your destruction.
Matthew, Jeremy, Kristen, Jeff in Las Vegas, good afternoon. Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks so much for having us.
Be here.
Thanks for having us.
Well, I have to tell you, right, I grew up, I'm Gen X, so I grew up watching Excalibur. I played Dungeons and Dragons when I was a kid. We played Warhammer. I'm just a big fantasy fan since I was 10 years old. And considering what you guys went through to make this movie, it looks like $1 million. It looks like a John Borman film. It really does.
Well, thank you so much.
You.
I mean, I was so impressed with this. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh, glad to hear
Well,
that.
Jeremy, tell us about Bodhi's quest into the realm of the fallen. He's looking for the chosen one?
Yes, he's looking for the chosen one. Bodhi, you find out earlier on that he's the bastard of and royalty, and you can see quite earlier on that he longs for a family, he longs to be a part of something, and he's very trusting. And part of his journey is he's been told that he's part of something bigger, and he really starts to test that whether or not he's going to continue believing that and believe in this chosen one. And so his journey almost into literally to hell, to test his faith in this.
And Kristen, tell us about Avalon.
Yeah, Avalon, you learn throughout the story, throughout the movie that like what her past is and why she so strongly believes the things she does and why she wants revenge and like the tenacity that she has and the fight within her to kind of get to that end and see it through. And I hope, the audience at the end of the day feels, because she does do some not so nice things to Bodhi along the way and not the best, friend to him. But at the end, I think you kind of see a turning point in her and, she has so many layers to her. And hopefully the audience, can resonate with her.
Absolutely. Matthew, I went to film school, UNLV, once upon a time. I made 8mm films when I was in junior high back in the early 80s. So
Let's go.
Indie filmmaking, this is indie filmmaking at its best. All your sets were hand built. You used your backyard. I mean, that's what filmmaking is all about. Tell me about what was the hardest part to overcome to put on a production like this?
I think the hardest thing was first jumping in. Like, we knew that this was a very big project and it was going to be like, I hate the term blood, sweat, and tears, but honestly, like, we just went so hard at building these sets and it took so much time and so much effort. I think that knowing the work that was going to go into it and making the decision, okay, this story's worth it, let's do it. Mm-hmm. And then the cold, it was very cold. I don't know how to say it. Like, there's times where I didn't know if we were going to get through the day and people are just looking. I remember Kristen's just like, are we still filming today? I'm like, yeah, we're filming today. So, cause it was freezing and, the actors carrying that weight. Our goal for this film was to do as much stuff practically as possible. So we talked early on, not having foam armor, doing real armor, doing real miniatures, doing real sets, really trying to minimize the green screen and trying to create something that felt very authentic and very real and very, again, homage to the 80s movies that we grew up on. So,
well, springing off that, Kristen, what was the worst day of shooting for you? Was it the freezing temperatures, being dirty? I mean, or was it just like that 24/7?
Being outside in the elements, I think was pretty brutal. Like, we had a couple of days when we were filming in Alberta, it was like, minus 30, something like that. It was just, we had this crazy wind coming through the mountains. So those days were pretty miserable, but you couldn't also like help but be in awe of your surroundings. So kind of took away some of that like miserable feelings. But I was in this homemade bath in the studio quite often in the film. And somehow like we just kept missing shots from it and I'd have to go back and do it. And I'm in the bath again. And oh, Kristen, you're going to be in the bath again. And every time it was my turn to be in the bath, the heater never worked. So again, we were filming inside that day, but it was freezing cold outside in the middle of winter. So the water was freezing. And so I'm like shivering and just trying to make it through the scene. And then every time Jeremy got in the tub, his bath water was always nice and warm.
Of
So
course, yes.
of course, yeah.
I took care of myself.
Well, Jeremy, this is a brothers production. I mean, a
Yes.
collaboration. How does that work? What are your strengths and weaknesses? I understand that in the last film, Matthew was the star. Now you're the star of this film. And so how does that work? Do you have a special style, or because is there more arguments than agreements, or?
Well, yeah, honestly, like it's awesome. Like Matt's my best friend, so we get to do life together, and part of that is making movies. So we have our scripts, we have our ideas, and we'd like to make our scripts based on what do we have access to, and then we say, okay, well, these are the this is what we have around us, this is what we can use, and these are the characters. Well, who's going to be better fit for this character? And then we just go by that, and then so sometimes one of us gets to lead, the other one has to play back fiddle, or vice versa. So we're pretty fortunate that way. At the end of the day, we just want to keep making movies, so we just take turns.
All right, so tell me about one creative disagreement between the brothers. Was it on set? Was it a story problem? Just one that you're still harboring in the back of your head. You're still harboring one of your one.
There was this one day, like we're doing the rope stunts. So we obviously don't have stunt doubles. Like we're doing all of our own stunts. And it's the witch scene, so we're doing the quick pull away. So Bodhi's getting ripped through the air, and we got a bunch of people on this rope. And this time, I only had partial armor on, and they pulled me back, and I missed the mat, and my legs ended up folding over my head. I literally kissed my own butt, and I felt like a rib pop. And I was like, it was like one of the first shots of the day, and like my back was spazzed. I could barely stand, and I was like, oh my gosh, we got to go the whole day still.
The best part is Jeremy's fighting with me, and we go on the other side of the castle wall, but it's just foam, so the whole crew can hear us fighting. And I'm just like, the worst part is I told you to stretch before you did it. You didn't stretch, didn't warm up, didn't do anything. I was like, I don't feel bad for you at all. Like, you went into that cold. So anyway.
But I missed the mat, so I mean, like.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
It does, when things like that happen, it turns into very much like, I told you so. He's like, you never said that. I'm like, I did. And
yeah, we basically have our 10-minute fight, and then it's like, okay, like we got to keep filming, so we'll talk about this later.
Yeah.
I assume your next production won't be this ambitious. You guys gonna do something a little simple, like a romantic comedy or something?
Almost.
Yeah.
We're
trying to think of one to do in the Florida Keys.
Yeah.
Or at a resort somewhere.
We have started our next one, and it's
That's
lot.
too much. Well, Las Vegas is open and ready for you, so come visit us.
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, ladies, thank you so much for your time today. Congratulations. It was an amazing effort. It was fantastic. And let's talk again soon. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.